Have you ever noticed how some people post their photos everywhere? Selfies, meals, gym mirrors, sunsets, coffee cups, while others almost never post their face at all? No profile pics, no stories, no reels, no updates, just silence. And then someone asks, "Why don't you ever post?" As if something must be wrong. But here's the truth. People who don't post their photos aren't hiding. They're choosing, and that choice says a lot about their psychology. Let's clear something first. Not posting photos doesn't mean someone is insecure, antisocial, or sad. In fact, for many people, it means the exact opposite. They are comfortable with themselves without needing outside approval. They don't feel the urge to prove their happiness, success, or attractiveness online because they already feel it offline. Their confidence doesn't come from likes, comments, or views. It comes from inner stability. While some people need the internet to validate their existence, these people feel real without being seen. Another big reason is privacy. Some people simply value their personal life deeply. To them, their face, their moments, and their experiences are not content. They are memories. They don't want strangers, coworkers, distant relatives, or random followers to have access to their life. It's not fear, it's boundaries. Just like some people lock their diaries, these people lock their digital identity. Their life feels safer when it's not publicly documented. Many people who avoid posting photos are also highly self-aware. They understand how social media works. The comparison trap, the highlight reels, the pressure to look perfect. They've seen how people start measuring their worth through likes, how they feel low when engagement drops, and how they begin editing themselves just to fit into trends. Instead of playing that game, they simply step out of it. Not because they can't win, but because they don't want to play. There's also a strong emotional intelligence factor here. People who don't post their photos often don't seek emotional reactions from the internet. They don't want sympathy, praise, or attention from people who don't truly know them. They prefer real conversations over virtual reactions. A hug means more to them than a heart emoji. A phone call means more than a comment. Their emotional world is built offline, not on a screen. Some people don't post because they've been misunderstood before. Maybe something they shared got judged, twisted, or mocked. Maybe someone took their photo and made a wrong assumption. Or maybe they simply realized that the internet remembers everything, even when people don't. So they choose silence, not because they're scared, but because they're wise. They understand that not everything needs to be shared to be real. Now here's something interesting. Many people who don't post photos actually live more fully. They enjoy moments without worrying about angles, lighting, filters, or captions. When they travel, they experience the place instead of documenting it. When they eat, they taste the food instead of photographing it. When they're happy, they feel it instead of proving it. Their life is not less exciting, it's just less visible. Let's take a simple example. Two friends go on a trip. One spends half the time clicking pictures, choosing filters, uploading stories, and checking who viewed them. The other puts the phone away, talks to locals, watches sunsets quietly, and laughs without recording it. Both are traveling, but one is performing and the other is living. People who don't post their photos usually belong to the second group. There's also a deep self-respect element here. Some people don't want their appearance to be the first thing others judge them by. They want to be known for their thoughts, values, behavior, and personality, not their looks. They don't want attention for their face. They want respect for their mind. In a world obsessed with appearance, choosing not to showcase your face is actually a powerful form of self-control. Another reason is emotional safety. Social media can be harsh. People comment without thinking. They judge without knowing. They compare without understanding. For emotionally sensitive or thoughtful people, This environment can feel draining. So instead of constantly exposing themselves to unnecessary opinions, they protect their peace. Silence becomes their shield, not their weakness. It's also important to understand that some people simply don't enjoy being photographed. It doesn't mean they hate themselves. It just means they don't like being in front of a camera. Some people love dancing, some love cooking, some love reading, and some simply don't love cameras. There's nothing wrong with that. Personality is not one size fits all. Interestingly, people who don't post photos often observe more than they show. They watch how others behave online. They see patterns. They understand trends. They notice emotional shifts. They become quiet analysts of human behavior, and that awareness makes them emotionally mature, socially intelligent, and mentally grounded. Let's talk about loneliness, because people often assume that those who don't post must be lonely. But in reality, many of them are the least lonely. They invest in deep friendships instead of large followings. They have fewer connections, but stronger ones. They don't chase attention. They build connection. And that difference matters. Now, this doesn't mean everyone who posts photos is insecure or shallow. Not at all. Some people genuinely enjoy sharing their life, expressing themselves visually, and connecting socially. And that's perfectly healthy. But choosing not to post is also healthy. It's just a different psychological style, not a problem. If you're someone who doesn't post your photos and sometimes feels odd about it, here's the truth. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not antisocial. You're simply private, self-aware, emotionally intelligent, and comfortable in your own space. And that's rare in a world that constantly asks for attention. And if you know someone like this, don't pressure them to come online. Don't ask them to just post something. Understand that their silence is a choice, not a flaw. Respect their boundaries, appreciate their depth, and remember, the most powerful people in the room are often the quietest ones, because not everyone needs to be seen to feel real. Not everyone needs to be heard to feel valid, and not everyone needs to post their face to live a full, meaningful, and confident life.